It's looking so festive. Hey friends, Jill here and welcome back to the Market Vibe. So happy to have you here. If this is your first time, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications on our future videos. We are continuing on with our Instagram series, and today we're talking all about building a community. I think a lot of people forget that Instagram and social media in general are to do one thing: get social, and it's really easy to forget that. And it's really important to be building a community, because what is the point of social media if you don't have a community? So in today's video, I'm going to go into the ways that you can really build a ton of engagement by focusing on community growth. The first thing that you should always be focusing on when building your Instagram and really building that community is engaging. And I know we hear this term a lot and you're probably like, what does that even mean? Engaging just doesn't mean that you post and ghost, where you post, you leave the app, and then you're done for the day. Instagram isn't a one-way street. It's a two-way street. Just like any relationship with any person, it involves two people being totally active in the building of the friendship or relationship or anything like that. The same goes for your followers. They want to engage with you. They want to know who you are. They want to know more about you, and you can create really special bonds with people that you wouldn't have met otherwise. The reason why it's so important too is because when you build these core foundational relationships of your community, they will be diehard fans. They'll follow everything you do, they'll like everything for you, and they'll become almost brand ambassadors of you as a brand because they've been there so long. They'll be the ones cheering you on and championing your page. So you're probably wondering, well, how do I actually engage with my audience? There are definitely so many ways to really build that engagement on your Instagram from all of the tools that they give you. Number one is going live. I think lives are really important because people can get a chance to see you a little more candidly. With videos and with posts, everything is curated. I mean, we're putting up our highlight reel. Even right now, I'm coming at you with like my makeup done and my hair all totally done. But what's really special is sometimes I show up on our lives without makeup, without my hair done, just being a normal person. And that's super relatable. People can ask questions, we can get to know one another. You can even go co-live with people that you know, answer questions that way. But going live is a really great way for you to connect with people and be a little more vulnerable in real time. Next is answering your comments and your DMs. It's really important to always be engaging with people who are actually engaging with your content. They don't have to do that. I think that's always one thing to really remember, is that people don't have to comment or like or really do anything. They're all totally busy and your content could not matter to them at all. But I think if you come at it with like a place of appreciation, like, wow, they actually took the time to comment on my post, to say something nice, to send me a DM, and I think it's really important to engage back with them. I'm sure you guys know there's so many accounts where you engage and they never respond, and it can be upsetting because you're like, oh, I follow this person, they're so cool, they're so inspirational, I wish they would just notice me. Well, your followers are thinking the exact same thing. So commenting back or DMing them back is letting them know that you see them and you're acknowledging them. A lot of times we've gotten into the place too where we've had so many DMs and it's so hard to keep up. You just have to take it in waves, and we always let people know we answer them when we can, but answering them and acknowledging them is so important. And then also going and engaging on other people's content. There's an account I run, one of our clients, and what I always do is there are the diehard fans that come in every single day. They like every post, they like everything, and I really make it a point to go onto their account and engage with their content as well. Again, it's a two-way street, and the more you give, the more you're going to receive back. So just remember that if you've got some diehard fans or some diehard followers who are always commenting on everything, go to their page and like and comment on a couple of their things, because you don't know how much that would actually mean to them, and it just solidifies the relationship even more. Now that you know some of the ways that you should engage, I'm going to teach you some of the ways to engage effectively. And this is not going and like leaving an emoji or something like that. This is where you should really be putting some thought into what you're writing. So when you're putting a comment, something like 2 to 3 sentences that's really meaningful or really sweet, you know, is a great way to show that you actually care and to elicit a response, because people are so used to getting something short that's like 3 emojis or something that's like, I love this, or something small. But if you take the time to write a more meaningful comment, you're definitely going to get a response back. Another thing to remember too is if you're leaving very good meaningful, thoughtful comments, there's a chance that there could be pinned. So if you're wanting to get exposure, one of the things that we did in the beginning is we were always going to our hero accounts of people that we looked up to who are in a similar industry. We would go to their page, we would like everything and leave a very meaningful comment, either answering their question or acknowledging that we read the caption, something that was a little more thoughtful. And I can't tell you how many times those were pinned to the top. So remember that if you're leaving a really meaningful comment, you have an increased chance of having it be pinned to the top and getting you a little bit more exposure. Also, responding to people's stories is a great way to just break the ice to start that DM relationship. So responding with like, congratulations, or I'm so happy for you, or I totally feel this, is a great way just to get that relationship started. And you'll be surprised at how many people will comment back with you and build that relationship. For me on my personal account, there are a couple bigger bloggers that I follow that always comment back. It is insane, to my DMs, because I'll watch their DMs and I send them responses that are very thoughtful or, you know, funny, or just me being me, and they respond back, and it's really special. So don't forget that, you know, stories, if they have that option, some people have it turned off, you can send a message that way to get that DM conversation going. And another tip just to remember with stories, and I put this more in depth in our other stories video, I'll link a card here so that you can go watch that if you want to watch specifically more information on Instagram stories, is after you've done whatever engaging you're doing, let your stories just run for like 15 to 30 minutes, plug your phone in, go do whatever you gotta do, like maybe you need to cook dinner or take a shower or do some work, let it roll, because then people are gonna see that you are seeing their stories and their stuff, and then they're more likely to come back and engage with you or to watch your stories as well. Next is using the DMs. That is a great place to really build that relationship, and I alluded to that a little bit earlier. But at the same time, I definitely, you know, use them wisely and thoughtfully and tastefully, because I'm sure y'all know, everybody can totally relate. You've seen that spam DM come through, something about buying more followers, like big scams, making tons of money, or something that's like, hey, just reaching out, but you know that it's to sell you. So the DMs are a great place for connection, for really building that relationship. I don't think they are the smartest place to sell unless it makes sense. If somebody expresses interest in your product, in your service, in something, of course, sell it to them. You do you, like do your boss thing and actually sell what it is that you're selling. But don't just go spam DMing people saying like, buy my stuff. One thing that I know that's personally frustrating for me is when I'll reach out to someone, I'll actually really love their content, I want to connect, and then they come back with a spam DM or some sort of copy paste DM that's like, oh my gosh, thanks so much, here's my stuff, buy it. And I think we're getting into the point where people are just tired of that. We're not for it. Like, we love connecting with other people, but we don't love being sold to. We want to buy something when we want to buy it. So it's really important to really engage in those DMs, build that relationship, ask people, you know, regular questions that you'd ask if you were on a coffee date getting to know someone for the first time. They're really a great place to build that relationship and sell when it makes sense. So here are some ways to DM the most effectively. Number one, you could respond to someone's story with a follow-up question. So if they post something and maybe it's not clear, or you have something that you want clarified, send a question saying like, hey, I really loved this story, I just have a follow-up question, what would you do for XYZ? That's a great way to get a conversation started. Next, you could offer them help in an area that you really excel in. Now this has to be a little bit more thoughtful. It's more if somebody puts like a question up that's like, hey, do you have suggestions about this, or have you ever used this before? Or if they're like, hey, I'm struggling with this, does anybody have any suggestions? That's a great time for you to go in and offer suggestions. We've actually met clients where they've said, hey, we're looking for a graphic designer, we're looking for someone for marketing, or has anybody used WordPress? Has anybody used, there was another one that was, has anybody used Discord? And I responded and I was like, hey, yeah, it's a great community building tool. And she booked a call with me and I just went over some of the details with building a Discord, and it was amazing. And it was great just from offering advice that I knew that I had expertise in, and because she actually asked the question. So just again, thoughtfully and tastefully. And then another way is just tell them thank you for something that they've posted that has impacted you, that has really helped you. People love hearing that. I think everyone wants to make a difference in some way, shape, or form. And hearing that you've done something or said something that has helped another person, I think everybody loves hearing that. And just make sure you're genuine. Like, all of these suggestions I'm giving you are for being an actual genuine human being. It's not to manipulate and to sell. So, you know, if something has really impacted you, tell the person, because people love hearing that. People tell us that all the time, and it's honestly so touching when people say that. So if somebody posts something and it really helps you or it really inspires you, let them know, because guaranteed they're gonna love hearing it, and you can get a conversation going. The DMs are definitely a great place to do business as well. Like I said, you can absolutely offer advice when somebody is asking for advice, but it's also a great way to form that relationship for a potential collaboration. It's also a great place to, you know, ask someone if they would want to be a podcast guest. Obviously, email is best, but a lot of times you can't find people's emails, so DMs are a great way. And hey, whatever, go for it, shoot your shot. You never know how somebody's gonna respond, or if somebody's gonna be like, you know what, why the heck not, let's go for it. Also, if you're a product-based business, you could message people and just say like, hey, I'd love to send you my products for you to test out. Totally no pressure. I love your content. I love your vibe. I'd love to send you something for free. It's a great way to start working with influencers. And then finally, just asking questions to gain more knowledge around the expertise that they do. Like I said earlier, if you need clarification, send them a message, because you never know, shoot your shot, they could respond. So now that you really know how to start engaging with people effectively through comments and lives and DMs, now it's time to start building your community. And this takes consistency. It is not something that happens overnight. I mean, it could happen, like if you have a video that goes viral and people really resonate with it, yes, 100% you can have a very fast community. However, you have to nurture that community. I'd say it's about like a 1 to 2 year journey to have like a really core group of community members that are like building and growing over time. And this really, like I said, comes with consistency. It comes with you showing up the days that you say you're going to show up. You don't have to show up every day, but if you say, I'm going to be on lives every Monday and I'm going to post 3 times a week, then you better deliver, because creating that consistency creates comfort for your follower, because when they're in a time where they need to just unplug or they're having a hard day, they're going to go to your content because they know that it's going to be there. So that consistency really is important for building that community relationship. Also, continuing to provide value for them, serving them, showing your journey, the good, the bad, the ugly, and then showing interest in them and acknowledging them is super important. I mean, I'm sure you guys know, kind of like what I said before, there's these big accounts or these big actors that never acknowledge anything because they're probably not running it. But when somebody acknowledges you and you're a fan of theirs, it's like, oh my God, that's why I love them so much. So it's really important to acknowledge people and let them know that you see them. They're the reason why your account is growing, because they're engaging. So it's just really important to acknowledge them and thank them and just let them know that you see them and that you are grateful for them. And that's everything on community building on Instagram. It is a very powerful tool. It definitely takes time and consistency, and it takes a lot of serving and a lot of love. But really, if you're trying to build a community, just think about how would you want to be treated if you were in a group or if you were in some sort of something. I can't think of the word, but think about how you would want to be treated as a member of something and treat people accordingly. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, you can always drop them in the comments below, and I will see you next time for another video on Instagram. Bye, friends.